Hi, everybody. Welcome back to A Person's Haven. My name is Lindsay. We are back in the craft room. We are getting ready to make some Christmas tree ornaments. I got into doing resin crafting a few years ago, and last year my homemade ornaments were also resin, but they were just these circle balls, similar to these ones here on the bottom. The year before that, I also did resin ornaments, but they were just circles that I drilled holes into to make the loop, and I decorated them almost like a 3D snow globe. But this year I have different molds, a little rocking horse, a bell, a tree, and I'm going to use those to make my ornaments this year. What my plan is to powder the mold with mica powder, different color mica powders, to make my design, and then each pour each mold with the resin from there. I also think I might use some what's it called? Some paints to potentially paint. I'm not sure. So I'm still a little bit up in the air on some things, but it is a work in progress. So a lot of this video is probably going to be me kind of crafting and working through problem solving on a time lapse. And then I will pop in here and there to give input. So hopefully you enjoy this. Stick around. By the end, we will have fully finished tree ornaments that I will show you, and hopefully you will enjoy this. All right, so the first ornaments that I'm going to do are going to be for one of my coworkers' children, 3 children to be exact. My thoughts were to do a gingerbread boy, a gingerbread girl, and a reindeer. I think for these 3, I'm just going to do a brown. So we have a coffee color. We have a bronze, brown red. We have a bronze. So I think this would be my only brown colors. And just looking at these side by side, I think I'm going to end up using the coffee for the 2 gingerbread and possibly the bronze. So what you do is you just dip your paintbrush into there and you cover it all with the mica powder. All right, everybody, so we have what we need done for right now. These 2 are going to be a gingerbread girl, gingerbread boy for my coworkers' 2 children, and this is going to be a deer for his 3rd child. This is going to be for my newest nephew. It is his first Christmas, so it's going to be a baby's first Christmas. And And that leaves 3 other kiddos. Technically 4, because I do make one for another coworker and his daughter. So my plan for the other kiddos is these 2 here for my 2 nieces. And then I'm still debating. I might do the tree or the snowman for my nephew, and then this glitter one for my coworker's daughter. And that will leave us 3 extras. I need a total of 9 made. And I'm not going to make circle ones this year. So if I make all of these, that will actually be 12 if my math is mathing. So I might have to decide which one I don't make, or I might just bring one home for myself. This is what we're going to start with for now. We're going to mix together some white resin, and I'm going to do white in all of these trays. And for the candy cane, I'm going to use red paint to paint it. I'm going to do some decorating on the Christmas tree, the gingerbread man and the gingerbread girl. Same with the snowman, maybe even the mitten and the stocking. So this is just step 1. We got to let this harden for 24 hours. But let's get the white ready and get it poured. Okay, everybody, so it is time to do the resin. So if you've never done resin art or even resin on floors or countertops, there are 2 parts to resin. There is the hardener and there is the resin itself. It will not harden if you have the wrong ratio. So you need to make sure that you know what your ratio is. You also need to wear gloves because this is not something you want on your skin while it's wet. You also do not want your animals to get into it. So I got a kitty right down here, so I'm keeping a close eye on him. But we are going to get this mixed up. I am going to use white as my base color for all of these. That way, hopefully, the color that I've put down can shine through, whereas sometimes if you put a black base, the colors won't shine through. So I'm going to start with 1 cup. I did do some math because these molds are actually pretty nice. They actually tell you how many ounces you're going to need. And I don't know if that means for the entire mold or per hole, which it now makes sense if it was the entire mold, because when I did my math, it said it was going to take 11 cups of resin. So it'd be 11 ones of these, which does not make that much sense now that I think about it. But I'm going to mix up 1. We're going to pour our full tray, and then if that takes 1, then I know that the ounce, which on this one it states 7, is for the whole tray. Then I'll do half of that for that tray over there. So how I do it is I just use the measuring tools on here. Now my cup has yellowed over the years. If I had to guess, the resin in the pump has solidified. All right, well, I might run upstairs and see if my husband can get this to budge. This one is budging. So let me start with this one. And it looks like There's a hard chunk in the end, so maybe that's all that's in that one as well. All right, that is half a cup there. Let's see if I have anything that I could maybe dig this out with. This guy might be a loss. The pump at least, which I guess is fine. You can just use this on the top here and pour it out and it will work just fine. All right, so we're going to mix this together. It will start to get kind of cloudy. And you can kind of see, let me show you. So you can kind of see how it's like white, kind of white streaks in there. It's hard to actually see on camera, but that's how you know that it's not mixed. So you're just going to continue to mix it until it gets back to the clear color. I got this big spatula specifically for doing resin because the little sticks that I have weren't tall enough for this one. I mean, they were tall enough, but it was a hassle, I'll put it that way. But this one is kind of too big, truthfully. They do have machines that you just push a button and like it has a stir stick like this and it just goes and spins in a circle. I looked into doing that. I was hoping to be able to do resin kind of full time. Not full time, but like sell it and make a profit, even just enough to pay for the materials basically, and that didn't work. All right, so let's add our white in here. Now in my actual mica powders, I don't have just a plain white. So what I use a lot is this resin dye, alcohol ink. Actually, I lied. I don't want to use the alcohol ink. I want to use the actual dye because I don't want my ornaments to be see-through, and the dye will turn the resin white, but it'll be a see-through white. The alcohol ink will do that. This dye will dye it a solid white where you can't see through it. And I haven't used this stuff since last Christmas, so a lot of it has settled. So I'm just trying to get it all mixed back in here. I think it's almost there. All right, so I'm gonna do 10 drops. We'll see if that's enough for this amount. That definitely wasn't enough. So we'll put 2 big squirts in there and we'll mix this up now. And we almost overflowed it there. We're almost there. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more to see if we can get a little richer white. I'm going to start with this one. What I'm actually going to do, maybe we'll see if it lays flat. It may not. Nope. So I'm going to actually put it in here, I think. No. These are the little totes that I use to cover them so the cats can't get them. I think I'm just going to leave it and slide it off to the side. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this big guy. To clean resin, you're going to use rubbing alcohol while it's still wet. Well, even when it's dry, it'll come off. It takes more effort, though. And I'm not quite satisfied with this white, so I'm going to add a little mica powder as well, just to make it a little darker. I want it to be a solid white. I don't know, I'm just not happy. So mica powder goes quite a long way, so you do not need that much. Alright, so that is a better white. Alright, so we are just going to fill each container. And hopefully you guys will be able to see how I do it. Let's start with this one over here. Actually, I'm going to start with the bell. So when I pour resin, I pour super slow. And I kind of let it fill itself up. And right now this table is at a slant. And then at the end I just slowly add until we're all the way up to the top. Okay, so we're going to start with that for that one. All right. So now we know it's 7 ounces for this whole thing and not just 1. That would have been a stupid mistake on my part. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go around each of these, making sure that there's no air bubble that got caught in there. All right, and then I'm going to try to move this over to where I want it to dry at so I can keep working here. And then I'm going to top a couple of these off. All right, guys, so I wasn't able to move it to where I wanted to, which was right over here. But we will put it here for these to dry. One thing I did forget to show you guys, so I'm going to do it now quick and film it, is when you pour resin, it will sometimes get little bubbles in it. So the bubbles will rise to the top. And what you need to do is you need to take a flame like this and go over because you want to pop any of those bubbles that may have formed. All right, so these look good, so we will leave these be. I'm going to cover them with this to protect it from the cats. And let's finish pouring our other tray. All right, so we're definitely going to need to make more resin, but let's finish up what we have here. I'm probably going to end up making probably 2 more ounces, maybe 2.5. All right, let's see if we have enough. All right, I think that was the perfect amount. Okay, so I'm going to take my little tool again and make sure there's no bubbles hiding around these. All right, so I'm going to slide this over there and get that covered. All right, everybody, I just wanted to give you a quick recap because these ornaments are going to work with me tomorrow. So these are for my co-worker and their children. I'm not going to flip these over because the kids' names are on the back, and I don't want to advertise their children all over the internet if they do not want that. But these are 5 of the finished products, and I will show you the rest when I get the rest done. All right, everybody, so we have finished our first set of ornaments. We have names on them, year, all right, everybody, so we just finished all of my family's Christmas ornaments. We have candies, we have gingerbread men, we have stockings, snowmen, we have trees, mittens, which I happened to make the same color. My nephew's first Christmas this year, so he gets his very own unique one. We've got a reindeer, a candy cane, and a star. So I'm going to get these all packaged up for my family. I like to put them into individual little gift bags, like the little candy treat bags, and just handwrite their name on them with a Sharpie. And they get to open those with the rest of their presents, and everybody gets a little ornament to put on the tree. hopefully this video was enjoyable. Hopefully you guys learned something from it. I know it wasn't a real tutorial, but I really do enjoy making homemade gifts for my family and my friends. And if you already have the stuff like I do, it is a way to save money. You don't have to go out and spend more money when you've already invested in your craft supplies already. And personally, I think handmade gifts are much more sentimental and more meaningful than anything you can buy in a store. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Please let me know if you did. Please let me know if you didn't. If you want to see something different, let me know. I will do my best to try to show you guys the things that you want to see. But I do enjoy crafting, so I'm hoping to do a lot more crafting videos throughout the winter here, because that's what I do a lot in the winter time when it's cold and snowy outside. So until next time, everybody, I hope you have a good day and you can enjoy some other videos along here on the side. All right, goodbye.